By every right, Trixie should have headed straight back to Hoofington after Twilight had cured her. But Trixie was hesitant. Trixie had had to spend some time exercising in Twilight's library to rebuild her muscles after a good month of doing a great deal of nothing. Then Twilight started nudging her to do so outside. Trixie very politely asked, not demanded, that Twilight please allow her to continue her physical therapy inside until she was ready to be introduced to the other element bears. And on top of that, with the sludge cleared from her heart and her memories stitched back together, Trixie was still trying to figure out who exactly the new Trixie was and what she wanted to be. She'd sent a letter to her family saying she was finally well, but she prayed to Celestia that she'd be fully recovered and back home before they descended upon Ponyville like a horde. Trixie hadn't seen what happened to her brothers or parents when Discord came to Hoofington, but she had a distinct memory through the grey haze of her sisters being turned into merry-go-round ponies, with Trixie getting dropped on Pixie's back. 2 of her sisters were reduced to delusional happy toys, the other 2 left painfully aware. Discord had enjoyed half a ride on Mixie before getting predictably bored and wandering off. Her sisters had hotly contested who had it worse afterwards. This new Trixie cursed the alien emotion of guilt for rising in her chest at the thought that she hadn't been there to help them through their own recovery. Speaking of which, Trixie was a little shocked to see Twilight sticking to her word and helping her recovery every step of the way, whether Trixie wanted it or not. She couldn't quite bring herself to be annoyed by it. I promised Sakura I'd help you see the light once I led you out of the darkness, Trixie, and I keep my promises, Twilight told her. And then later, quietly, when the lights were out and Spike was asleep, in a way, it almost feels like fearing you helped me free myself. Twilight had been very adamant the experience was the best teacher, and decided the best way to warm Trixie up for her eventual reintroduction to the others was casual conversation over tea, an experience that had both of them reeling at first. It was surprisingly easy to keep the conversation going, though. They wandered from topic to topic, until eventually Twilight started talking about the town's recovery from Discord, and her own awful, awful way of coping with the stress. Trixie nearly choked on her tea. You got the entire town obsessed with your raggedy little doll over a friendship lesson? I was only aiming for the 3 fillies, and I was going to remove the spell right after. It just spiraled a bit. Trixie shook her head, smiling slyly into her teacup. Perhaps the one and only Trixie should consider this sweet blackmail material. Twilight deadpanned at her. Trixie, I was inside your head. I literally got pelted with all your traumas and embarrassing secrets. Prove it. Princess Starflower. Trixie's ears pinned. Fine, fine. But how does a straight-laced mare like you even know that kind of mind magic? I needed to learn it to help with some of the therapy efforts. The doctors were not happy with me abusing it. I see. Ugh, Trixie can't even make fun of you for this one. I did something similar as a filly. Oh, sweet Celestia, please tell me you didn't use a spell on yourself during a show. No, of course not. I snuck into the restricted section at Crystal Arcanus and found the spell. Had to hide from my admirers in my locker until school let out and I could look for the counterspell. You'd think they have a bit tighter security around those kinds of spells. Oh, they did. Trixie was just very good at misdirection, even at that age. Anyway, my counselor considered expelling me before deciding the trauma was punishment enough, and I decided friendship wasn't worth it and started looking to the stage for admiration instead. Nothing like a single incident to put you off friendship forever, eh? Sure. Anyway, that incident was what made your friends decide you really did need therapy like the rest of them, yes? Maybe seeing all Ponyville reduced to madness and watching my friends' minds be violated did cause my fixation on plants in order to grow out of proportion just the tiniest bit. She was making schedules on when to scratch her nose, called Spike from the other room. Twilight blushed. Hey, look at the time, Trixie, we're gonna be late! Spike, you know the drill. Watch over the library. Yeah, I know. Spike gets stuck home with the owl. Who? Oh, you go back to sleep. Trixie magicked her teacup to the kitchen sink, her ears flattened. Never once has the one and only Trixie been hesitant to stand before an audience. Don't worry, this audience is going to be very forgiving. You're one of us, Trixie. Please don't say that. I mean, you're part of something greater than yourself. Support from others makes you stronger, Trixie, not weaker. Trust me, it took me forever to realize that lesson. Trixie sighed, but followed Twilight to the door, trying not to feel like she was being led to the gallows. Fine, let's go. Scootaloo! Get your junk out of the living room right now! It's not junk. I thought this was our living room. It's my house that makes it my living room. And that's not where it belongs, and that makes it junk. I thought you said this was my home, too. Yeah, home, not garbage dump. Like this place was clean before I came here. Don't talk back to me, kid. What are you, my mom? I'm the one looking after you right now. I'm the closest you're gonna get. Maybe I don't want that. Then there's the door. Oh, right. I need to carry you down, 'cause you can't fly. Scootaloo didn't respond. Her lips quivered. Her eyes glistened. Her undeveloped wings folded tight against her. Rainbow Dash wanted to hit herself. Shit, Scoots, I didn't... Sniffling and red-eyed, Scootaloo began to robotically pick up the few power pony figures she'd scattered around the Cloud Home's living space. Scoots, Rainbow Dash finally managed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. Little Pegasus looked at her, eyes big and sad and very wet. Are you gonna send me to the Rainbow Factory and put me in the Pegasus machine? Rainbow Dash stared for a second. What? That's what grown-ups do with bad fillies who can't fly, right? They're put in the Pegasus machine and turned into rainbow goop, right? Rainbow Dash slapped her forehead. She'd forgotten that dumb boogie mare tale. Scoots, that's just a myth. It's a story stupid kids talk about around the campfire to scare each other. There is no Pegasus machine. It's a ponytail, like... Rainbow paused before she could say Nightmare Moon, the ponytail that was very decidedly real. Like how some Earth ponies think us Pegasi can carry ponies back from Tartarus. It's not real. Thanks, Scoots. I know it's not something either of us are good at, but come on. How many foals do you think fail flight school every year? We wouldn't have half of Cloudsdale if we kept killing foals over stupid stuff like not flying well. Hell, if we were to, I'd be Rainbow Goop by now. Scootaloo stared at her, unbelieving, tears finally drying up. What? You failed flight school? Failed? I was damn near expelled. I broke just about every rule the damn school had, twice. I can't complain because I met a pretty good friend because of it, but still. Anyway, Scoots, no one's gonna come kill you or turn you into Rainbow Goop or whatever just because you can't fly. And besides? Rainbow Dash grinned and ruffled her mane. They'd have to get through me first. Scootaloo laughed and hugged her. Rainbow Dash hugged back. Alright, we should probably get going soon. I've got friends waiting for me, and I'm sure yours are too. Scootaloo sprang back, rushed her last few scattered toys back into their designated pile, and followed Rainbow Dash to the door. After a short, unexplained relapse, the doctors had finally declared Cheerilee healthy enough to begin teaching again, with the caveat that she continued to visit them once a week. Which meant school was finally back on! For real, we mean it this time. The Crusaders had, unsurprisingly, not gotten much Cutie Mark crusading done this month. Apple Bloom had been working through her nightmares, Sweetie Belle had been slowly learning to look at dolls again without breaking down, and Scootaloo was adjusting to her new living situation. She was just glad Apple Bloom and Sweetie had been so accepting of her running away from Discord. There was, however, one project that had united them. Silver Spoon had been spending a lot of time away from home. A lot. It was like she was scared of her own family. She was. Come here, dearie, let Papa make you a nice trophy. You look great on the wall, and you'll never need to worry about losing your looks like your mother. Just think of all the weight you'll lose. Now just stand still for Papa! Silver Spoon screamed as her father brought their ancestral axe upon her, just barely dodging it in time to watch the couch she'd been cowering on be split in two. Hey, Silver Spoon, you okay? Silver Spoon blinked. Right, she was on a park bench outside. Her father wasn't trying to kill her, and she'd just been shaking and sobbing loud enough for the pack of blanks to notice. I'm fine! Her face burned. You blanks? Nailed it. You know there's school today? Sweetie Belle asked, the closest of the three of them to high class, and therefore the least likely to be rebuffed. Yeah, obviously. You're gonna be late if you just keep sitting on this park bench all day. And what do a bunch of blank flanks like you care? 'Cause you're hurt, Apple Bloom said. Do I look hurt to you? Apple Bloom thought back to all the times she'd seen Silver Spoon lately, always looking over her shoulder, jumping at the slightest sound, breaking into a cold sweat whenever a piece of silver came into view. Heck, even now her hopes were shaking. Yep. Well, I'm not, Silver Spoon snapped. It wasn't fair. Diamond Tiara had always been there for her, to tell her what to do, what to feel, where to go, who to hang out with. She'd been the only guiding light for Silver Spoon, between a father who treated her like a business investment and a mother who insisted she'd become an ugly nag one day, so she'd better get a good education and score a husband as soon as possible. You're Lan, Apple Bloom said matter-of-factly. She'd gotten over the sweetness of watching her schoolyard bullies reduced to this mess by the third day of it. The taste of karma had long since soured into a sense of wrongness at seeing this spoiled, vicious little filly reduced to a nervous wreck, biting at anyone who dared approach. What the hell do you know, blank flanks? Miss Cheerilee isn't going to be happy about you missing school. Sweetie Belle tried to steer them back on track. Who cares? I'm rich! My family can just buy my way through graduating. 'Cause that's all I am, right? Just a rich little filly who can pay her way through everything, she howled. The Crusaders looked at her, taken aback, then looked at each other. Lowly, they whispered, 1, 2, 3, and tackled her as one. Silver Spoon struggled like a mad pony, but she indeed made it on time. Guess we're not Cutie Mark Crusaders truant officers, Scootaloo said off-heavily, glancing at her flanks. Not the time, Scoots, Apple Bloom grumbled. A few minutes later, Sweetie Belle watched Silver Spoon pack up her things, having made it about 5 minutes into class before Miss Cheerilee caught on to her bad mood and sent her to spend the day with one of the school counselors instead. But Sweetie Belle couldn't help but think, that's the longest conversation we've ever had with her, even if it had largely consisted of yelling and snarling. With all the drama, it didn't occur to any of them until recess that Diamond Tiara wasn't there either. Mr. and Mrs. Cake still weren't totally convinced that their foster child hadn't been replaced by some sort of alien clone. She wasn't sneaking bites out of custom orders that then had to be redone. She was working the register without breaking into long, largely one-sided conversation with customers while the line grew behind them. Her cooking experiments, while still a little outlandish, no longer ran any risk of setting things on fire or exploding. She took the time to write letters to her bio parents, when before she'd change the subject anytime they were even mentioned. And she was even helping with the books, instead of just making them a jumbled crayon-covered mess. And on a slightly weirder note, her musical numbers were just a touch more reserved. Perhaps the most terrifyingly shameful thing? They hoped the aliens never returned the real Pinkie Pie. But of course, when they admitted this, Pinkie Diane Pie, as she now signed her name, would just smile and laugh. Don't worry, I'm still me. Like I said, this is just all of me. And anyway, this is a fantasy setting, not science fiction. Ponies who try to shove science fiction into fantasy settings are just losing the plot. That, if nothing else, was enough to reassure them that this was indeed their Pinkie Pie. The culinary abominations they had produced under Discord's influence had long since been thrown in the garbage, and the couple had long since forgiven each other for what they'd done to one another on that day. In short, they were ready to resume their normal, relatively sane lives, as much as they could with Pinkie Pie hanging around. Let their daughter and her friends save the world. They had a bakery to run, and soon a family to raise. All Cup and Carrot wanted for now was peace. You see, Trixie? No pony's staring at you. No pony's laughing at you, Twilight said reassuringly, treading alongside Trixie to Sugar Cube Corner. She'd never admit it, but she was just a little scared of a different reaction from the townsfolk. Thankfully, Ponyville proved itself to be at its best, or at least had its most distracted from the petty crimes of random stage performers. It's weird. I normally love attention, but this is the one town in Equestria where I don't want to be seen, Trixie muttered, keeping her head low. Well, maybe it's about time you stop saying you don't care what strangers think of you, and actually start not caring. You say that like it's so easy, Trixie snorted, but her head raised a few inches anyway. Then she bumped into two unicorn colts. They stared at her. She stared at them. Trixie's eyes turned into little purple lightning bolts. You! The colts nearly soiled themselves. You ruined my life, she snarled. She actually was drawing attention now. We're sorry, Snips and Snails echoed, falling on their knees and covering their heads. Do you have any idea what I went through because of you? Do you? Trixie's aura was practically crackling with electricity now. Trixie, Twilight said, stepping between them. Get out of my way, Twilight. Their parents already punished them, Trixie. Who was the one who lied to them in the first place? Who made them think that Ursa Minor was a good idea in the first place? Like a switch had been pulled, Trixie's aura died down. She clapped a hoof to her face. Stop being right all the time, she grumbled. Snips and Snails took the opportunity to flee. Twilight watched them go, then shook her head. Come on, Trixie. I'm going to be late, she said impassively, trotting ahead. Twilight, Trixie began apologetically, but she couldn't find the right words. She galloped to catch up. I'm sorry. Twilight didn't respond. Applejack's family could agree on one thing that had changed since her visit with the princess. It was like the days after Applebuck season all over again. Applejack was acting humble but enlightened to her family, and a lot less stubborn about accepting help. Probably the strangest thing was how, when some ponies looked into her eyes, they would cringe and look away, clearly uncomfortable. Applejack always looked so solemn when that happened. Applejack wasn't oblivious to the changes within herself. She was too honest for that. Curiosity eventually got the better of her, and using her newfound letter to the princess privileges earned from the Smarty Pants fiasco, she sent a letter asking what would have happened if she'd kept looking into the truth without interference. To her surprise, the letter she got in response had not the solar seal of the Sun Princess, but Luna's moon. She read it all the same. Dear Abigail Jacqueline, the 5th of the 5th line. I have chosen to answer this letter in my sister's stead. Having had my own experiences with the Well of Forever, I can give thee a fair estimate of what may well have happened had thy little sister not interrupted thy gaze into truth. Thou wouldst have gained power like unto precognition, able to see the branches of futures yet unwoven, and pasts never chosen. But 'twould have come at a mighty price. Rather than merely slumbering a single night at the castle, thou wouldst have spent the next 10 years in a deep slumber, as thy mind and body adjusted to thy new power, causing thee to miss thy sister's fullhood entirely. Perchance thy brother would have taken your element in thy stead, while thy sister and grandmother crumbled neath the burden of thy farm's workload. As for what thou might have beheld, I shall make unto thee what guesses mine experiences allow. Thou wouldst have beheld the era when Equestria, not yet by that name, was joined to another world by the arches of rainbows. This other realm was infested with some of the greatest evils Equestria hath seen, yet also held the brightest source of hope. Connected to this other world, the land that would become Equestria enjoyed a golden age. Then thou wouldst have beheld discords rise upon this innocent world which had quashed its greatest evils centuries before. Thou wouldst have beheld discord crushing what was once the rainbow of light in his bare claws, splitting it into 6 parts. Thou wouldst have witnessed the unicorn mimic, the most powerful mortal pony of her age, and for many after, do battle with discord single-hoovedly. Even with a broken horn, her power knew no bounds. And thou wouldst have witnessed the glorious moment she broke the tooth of a concept, and the brutal death she suffered upon Discord's realization that his beautiful face had been tarnished. Her bones changed to glass and dashed against the ground, repeatedly, until naught but dust remained. Applejack couldn't help but notice there were tear stains on this part of the parchment. Perhaps thou might have beheld one of the many, many timelines wherein madness claimed one of thy friends forever. Oh yes, Applejack, what wonders you might have beheld, if only thy sister hadn't pulled thy stubborn flakes away. Yours, the Lady of Dreams in the Night, Princess Luna Nixlina Equestria. And then, in much less cursive horn writing, I apologize for my sister's lack of tact, Applejack. But she felt, from one element of honesty to another, one touched by truth would have been able to handle it. It is her way of showing that she has faith in you and the other elements of harmony. From Twilight's letters, I believe most of you have found freedom from Discord's demons, and I have faith that the rest of you shall as well. Stay true to yourself, dear Applejack, and see that your friends remember not to fear truth. The bringer of life and flame, Princess Celestia Amaterasu Solaris Equestria. Applejack silently put the letter in a drawer and locked it. I promise, Princess. I promise. Then she remembered the time. Oh, horse apples, I'm gonna be late! Pinkie Pie was there first, of course, the venue being her place of residence, followed by the Pegasus who'd waited until the literal last minute and dashed there in record time. Fluttershy fluttered in next and politely greeted her friends. Applejack idled in a few minutes later, huffing and puffing and surprised to see she wasn't last. Rainbow Dash was somehow the only one to gasp when she saw the mare following Twilight Sparkle through the door. What the hey are you doing here? In an uncharacteristically calm, even voice, Blue Unicorn replied, Twilight Sparkle insisted that it would be beneficial to my recovery if I had a chance to meet you all properly. Pinkie Pie just hopped over to her in typical Pinkie fashion, while Fluttershy fluttered to her side. She'd been using her wings quite a bit more since Discord took them away from her. Hello there! Twilight said she was bringing over a patient. That's you, right? My name is Pinkie Pie. Nice to meet you. Who are you? Do you know Rainbow Dash? She sure seems to know you. Blanking out the rush of words in pink, Trixie thought hard about how best to answer the deceptively difficult question. I'm Trixie, and we've met once. I'm Fluttershy. It's nice to— Yeah, I know her. She's that sham magician who nearly got Ponyville destroyed with her stupid boasting and made me, AJ, and Rarity look like idiots. Twilight, why'd you bring her back to Ponyville? Pinkie and Fluttershy looked at Rainbow Dash, then at Trixie, surprised. This was the great and terrible Trixie? She looked so normal. Applejack said it first. 'Cause Discord hurt her, Sugar Cube. Twilight brought her back to Ponyville to help her. She's been as gray as we were since Discord got loose. Twilight only got her back to herself a week ago. You knew she was there? Me and Rarity, hands back, Applejack said firmly. Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes. What, did Discord make her humble, polite, and honest? Oh, the horror. Try mindlessly erotic, Twilight snapped. Rainbow, I know Trixie wasn't the nicest when she last came to Ponyville, but that was over a year ago. I brought her here to make friends. You know, the way you were all so eager to with me. You didn't treat us like clown ponies. Your vernacular is truly awe-inspiring, Trixie scoffed, the words falling out of her mouth before she could catch them. Rainbow Dash looked about ready to charge. Trixie, sorry. That stopped Rainbow in her tracks. Did Trixie just say sorry? Yes, the sincere and humble Trixie said sorry. Happy? Trixie said flatly. For once, her third pony speech was clearly ironic. Twilight put herself between the two. Rainbow Dash, Trixie, harmony, friendship, remember those things? Or do I have to start casting memory spells again? She turned to Rainbow Dash. Rainbow, as her healer, I can tell you that Trixie's been hurting since long before Discord hurt her. But the infection is out now, and she's begun to heal. And I told her that since she needs time to get her strength back before going back to her family in Huffington, as part of her treatment, she should try making some friends. Doctor's orders. You have a family? Twilight wanted to face Huff. Yes, I have a family, Trixie hissed. Does the fact that I came from somewhere instead of just spawning from nothing to antagonize you specifically really feel that alien? Behind them all, Fluttershy tensed, her face twisting into a bitter scowl. But the moment passed unnoticed. Then why not go back to them, where you're wanted? I want her here! Twilight's voice echoed off the walls. Rainbow Dash let herself land on her haunches, only now realizing she'd been flapping her wings so she could look down on Trixie. Rainbow Dash, I know you're just trying to be loyal to your friends, but Rarity and Applejack have already forgiven her. How about proving your loyalty by doing the same? Applejack nodded. Fine. Rolling her eyes, Rainbow Dash stuck out a hoof at Trixie. If the rest of the gang wants to give you a chance, I won't stand in their way, but I'm watching you. Trixie took the hoof and shook it. You have no idea how much that pleases the one and only Trixie. Welcome her to the club, girls, Twilight loudly whispered to the others. Pinkie Pie didn't need to be told twice. Welcome to the Friendship's Magic Club. Please enjoy your stay. Once a member, you remember forever. Twilight stared. For once, Pinkie hadn't managed to make that sound threatening. Welcome, Trixie, Fluttershy said, smiling warmly. Then her eyes turned sly, and a smirk flashed across her face for a heartbeat. I like your style, she said lowly before the innocent smile returned. Trixie did her best not to react to that. Being a stage performer meant getting very good at hiding adverse reactions when it counted. Applejack just trotted up to Trixie and shook her huff. Glad to see you out of that fog, girl. A lot of ponies never find their way out. Trixie didn't protest the metaphor, to Twilight's surprise. Pinkie looked around and declared the obvious. Hey girls, we're one element of harmony short! Where's Rarity? It's not like Rarity to be this late, Fluttershy murmured, concerned. Actually, speaking of elements, Twilight began, but Trixie shook her head. Twilight stopped, then spoke directly to her. Trixie, I really do think the others should know, just in case something happens to me. If I was ever out of commission somehow, I don't think you'd have time to explain things, or wait for every pony to get over the surprise. The one and only Trixie doesn't want to be known only as an understudy of even the greatest of individuals. No offense, Twilight. I know, but this isn't really about you. It's about all of us. If you really want to make friends, Trixie, then one of the things you need above all else is loyalty, honesty, laughter, kindness, trust, Twilight finished. Pinkie Pie patted. Hey, that isn't an element of harmony. That's cheating. I wasn't playing a game, Pinkie. Trixie, listen. I've seen how badly being an individual means to you. It hurts when you feel that you've been categorized or put into a mold. Trixie sat down and gave her a defiant look. If your friends only think I'm worth anything because of something I was apparently born with, how's that any different from a unicorn with an earth pony father being considered inferior? This wasn't something you were born with, Trixie. No more than your cutie mark was. You grew into it from an early age because you decided it was something you yearned for, like I did with Spike as a foal. Can someone please let us in on the conversation already? The two begged as I shouted. Everyone looked at the less expected of the two. Fluttershy blushed and covered her mouth, as if worried of what else might come out. Hermidash shook her head, marveling at the fact that she and Fluttershy had echoed each other on something. Look, Twilight, you said as my healer you wouldn't reveal anything you learned about me, right? Well, this is one of those things. Pinkie chimed in, raising a hoof. She's got a point, Twilight. Unless Ponyville's gonna explode or something unless you don't tell us, you really should keep your promise not to say anything and just let Trixie tell us whenever she's ready. Twilight was still thrown for a loop at the sound of reasonable logic coming out of Pinkie Pie's mouth, but sighed. Okay, fine. I promise I won't tell any pony without permission. But Trixie, if something bad happens and you're around to help, I want you to pitch in any way you can. It's nice to see you want to be modest in your own way, but you've got a unique gift that could help a lot of ponies if the need calls for it. Don't lock it away just because of pride. Trixie let out a noise between a grunt and a sigh. Fine, you have my word. Rainbow Dash cut in. Twilight, I really don't see how Trixie... Greetings and salutations. So sorry for being late. I had a slight mishap at the shop yesterday, but I hope I didn't keep you all waiting. I didn't want to miss Trixie's debut. Everyone looked up and saw Rarity in the doorway. She trotted in, with a limp, revealing bandages around her thigh. Rarity, what happened? Applejack said, running up to her. Rarity looked her friend right in the eyes, and spoke slowly, carefully. There was an unfortunate happening at the shop yesterday where I got stabbed by a pair of my own scissors. Terrible business, really. I can tell you why. Makes sense, really, but misunderstandings and accidents do happen, I suppose. Applejack squinted and leaned in closer. Quick as a flash, Rarity put on a pair of dark sunglasses, instantly cutting off AJ's eye contact. Hey! My word, Rarity said, looking around in a theatrically over-the-top manner that fooled absolutely no one. Is it a little bright in here? I don't think so, Pinkie Pie said, confused for a moment before perking up. Oh, I get it! She bounced behind a counter and sprang back up barely a second later, now wearing a pair of Groucho Marx glasses. Hey, Applejack! Remember that is Princess Celestia's illegitimate daughter. Ditsy-Doo is an amnesiac secret agent. Rarity's a vampire. Bonbon's secretly an alien bug pony. Our entire universe is the fourth iteration of a half-hour toy commercial. Take those damn things off, Applejack shouted, swiping off Pinkie's glasses. I swear if these things become the new Ponyville fashion trend, I'm bucking some flanks. First law of showmanship, Trixie said, surprisingly relaxed around the mare whose mane she had utterly ruined a year ago. Never draw attention to the part of the trick you don't want the audience to notice. If it does catch their attention, just move on and hope they're too distracted to care. I'll keep that in mind, Rarity blushed. Now take the damn sunglasses off, Rarity, Applejack said. No, I don't think I shall, Rarity hummed. Then turning to Trixie, my dear, I do apologize for that display. After all, this is supposed to be your party. Allow me to introduce myself properly since we couldn't while you were ill. Madame Rarity Bell, owner, proprietor, and manager of the Carousel Boutique. I'm the one and only Trixie. It's nice to meet you, Trixie managed, feeling just a tad awkward. Since when did she mind being the center of attention? Maybe it was the lack of rehearsal or predictability. Then her mind caught up with her. Wait, did you say party? Pinkie Pie grinned and pulled a cord on the wall somewhere, with a blare of party horn confetti rained down from the ceiling, and congratulations banner falling from the rafters. Pinkie, Fluttershy warned, I pinky promise this party only lasts until our guest of honor leaves. No more 3-week parties for this pony. Trixie felt even more unsure. Since when did she have a party for anything but her birthday? Even though she'd had to manage and organize all of her stuff anyway. But this? Oh cute, she's blushing! Pinkie Pie declared, throwing a leg around Trixie's neck. Trixie ignored her, looking around. Pastries and treats, music, the whole store rented out. Decorations carefully hidden to be strung at the right moment. And the pink pony she'd only met today, hugging her like an old friend. When was the last time anyone outside her family had ever done that for her? When was the last time anyone outside of Huffington cared about her when she wasn't putting on a show, putting her all into catching every pony's attention with the most eye-catching effects and obnoxiously over-the-top sales she could manage? When was the last time? Pinkie Pie took a few steps back. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you accidentally eat one of my hot sauce cupcakes? Trixie didn't know what she was talking about. Her vision was a little blurry, though. She touched a hoof to her cheek and it came away wet. She was crying? No, Pinkie Pie, Twilight said, smiling. This time you got it right. Trixie couldn't remember when she'd ever danced before, and she'd never really understood what the big deal was. But somehow, at one moment or another, she finally let herself loose. And for a few precious moments, she really truly didn't care what others thought of her. She didn't know how to explain it, but she was sure she'd had some heavy weights she didn't even realize she was carrying removed when Twilight had helped her escape the lifeless wasteland that was her heart. All Trixie knew was that she'd never felt so free. Karaoke time! Pinkie Pie's voice rang out. She grabbed Trixie and dragged her over to a huge screen with a set of microphones attached. Pinkie Pie, what in tarnation is this? It's a karaoke machine, silly. Don't worry, the lyrics are color-coded. Uh-huh, Twilight asked as Pinkie started shoving microphones in their hooves. Oh yeah, I think Scoots mentioned wanting one of these, Rainbow Dash mused. Just go with it. I didn't know what our guest of honor's colors were going to be, so I just went with silver. Guess that works out, huh? Pinkie Pie lightly patted Trixie's silver mane. Trixie didn't flinch, to her surprise, euphoria still running high. Pinkie bounced over to a smaller panel to the side and tapped something on it. Then the array of pop songs were replaced by a spinning disc and the words "The Future Starts," singing Memory. Fluttershy tilted her head. Have I heard this one before? I don't know. It was originally released in Napalm, but a lot of ponies over here really liked it, so they made a Polish version. Come on, I'll lead. Pinkie Pie sprang to the front, tapping her hoof along to the countdown before opening her mouth to sing. Because of hi, 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 the sun is rising, singing hi, 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 the nightmares and more. My little pony, our friendship could be the thing that saves us again. Every morning, I wake with the stars, feeling my heartbeat start to race. Those haunting memories, they tear through my chest, and I feel a prickling thought in my eyes. Every evening, I see those ponies marching along like nothing's changed. Like those twisted games were not but a dream, but I know they're hurting inside. Then I meet with you, smiling year to year, and I know that we'll all be okay. Could this be the answer I need? Could this friendship be the start of a new day? Hey, please answer me. This small hi, 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 this pure emotion suddenly hi, 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 I am overcome. There's a way to go before I will find the me who can smile bright again. Because of hi, 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 the sun is rising, singing hi, 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 the nightmares no more. My little pony, our friendship could be the thing that saves us again, and heals us after the night. Trixie felt a warmth wash over her, a tingle and a fullness in her chest. Was this what Twilight had meant when she said friendship was magic? Twilight glanced at Trixie and spotted a blue light flickering over her heart. She smiled and said nothing. Woohoo! Pinkie Pie cheered, completely streamers. That was fun! Her 6 friends chorused their agreement. That was great, Pinkie. And me and AJ don't even like singing, Rainbow Dash praised. Thank you. Someone was at the center of attention that wasn't Trixie, and for once she was okay with that. It was a little strange admitting it, though. I guess the great and powerful Trixie really is dead, Trixie thought. I just wish I knew who the one and only Trixie will turn out to be. She wandered away from the group of laughing friends and reached for a can of peanut brittle. Twilight's eyes widened, and forgoing her telekinesis, Fly tackled it out of Trixie's hooves. What, Pinkie Pie? Twilight asked, politely ignoring Trixie. Yeah, Twilight? Could you please add Trixie to your do not prank list, right next to Fluttershy? She's kinda sensitive right now. Prank? Trixie snapped, every one of her emotional defenses snapping into position and thoroughly proving Twilight's point. Oh boy, time to play peacekeeper. Trixie, when Pinkie pranks someone, she's not doing it to laugh at them. She's doing it so that pony can laugh with her. That makes no sense. Twilight struggled a little to translate Pinkie love language into Trixie not hate language. Trixie, what a stranger does to you and what a friend does to you aren't the same thing, even when they're the same action. A hug from your mother means something different than a hug from one of your sisters, right? It took a minute for Trixie to pull the right memories out of the archaeological dig site of her heart. I guess? It's the same with Pinkie and her pranks. As her friends, she knows we know she means well, so she trusts us not to be offended. And she never goes farther than she thinks we can handle. And what if someone pranked you? Trixie asked Pinkie Pie darkly. Pinkie playfully waved a hoof. Oh, why'd you laugh with them? Unless it's a super meanie prank like what this girl did. That wasn't very fun. Trixie's proud, egocentric brain did not know how to handle this revelation. I see. I like you. I call you silly, but that's what we call Applejack. Thankfully, Trixie was too busy processing that not everyone was as emotionally sensitive as her to pay Pinkie any mind. Applejack rolled her eyes a little, but didn't object like she might have a few months ago. Trixie, you okay? Twilight asked with gentle concern. Trixie put a hoof against her head and shook it, knocking the dislodged cogs back in place. I dunno. Maybe I just don't belong here. Maybe Rainbow Dash, is right. Maybe I should just go back to Huffington. My family is waiting for me. That's your choice and no one else's, Trixie. But I promise you'll be welcomed with open hooves as much here as you would there. I am choosing to take the optimistic interpretation of that statement. Twilight just laughed. Meanwhile, the others had gotten bored of Trixie's miniature existential crisis and broken up into their own conversations. So, Dashi, I was wondering, Pinkie Pie, I pinkies wear, cross my heart and whatever, my mane and tail are not dyed. Okay. Rainbow Dash, Rarity said politely. If I may ask, have you recently seen a pink filly with a purple and white mane? Perhaps wearing a small tiara? Rainbow Dash laughed. So he got you too, huh? Oh? Last night, Filthy Rich showed up at the office and started throwing bits around, trying to get members of the weather team to comb every inch of Ponyville looking for that kid of his. Idiot would have gotten the entire team looking for her if he just asked, but hey, I'm not complaining about a few extra bits. Diamond's been missing since last night? I wouldn't worry about it. Spoiled brat probably just got distracted by some fancy dress seller, stayed at a friend's house and forgot to tell her dad. I'm sure she'll turn up soon enough. Rarity whispered. Diamond Tiara doesn't have any friends right now. She is all alone. Huh. Well, can't say she doesn't deserve it. From what Scootaloo tells me, she treats everyone like dirt, especially the Crusaders. Guess whoever she used to hang out with finally got fed up with her brattiness. Rainbow Dash, that's an awful thing to say, Fluttershy admonished. Rainbow looked at her before shrugging. Look, Fluttershy, I know you'd cuddle Discord if you thought it would do any good, but fillies like those are just bad news. They don't ever learn to care about others. They just buy their way through life and then wonder why no pony likes them. So I'm just bad news then? Trixie called from across the room. She didn't want to get involved in whatever was going on over there, but what Rainbow had said struck a nerve. Jury's still out on you, Rainbow called back. As it should be for Diamond Tiara, Rarity insisted. She's still a filly. She's selfish, spoiled, rotten, a bully, has a completely unrealistic image of herself, and her father's done little to nurture any desire to bond with others, which is precisely why she can't understand the pain she's feeling, learn to cope with it. He went out for his eyebrow. What, so all her crappy attitude is just magically forgiven because she's hurting inside? Those aren't excuses, Rainbow Dash. If she chooses to grow from an awful filly into an awful mare, it's her own choice. But if you just write her off as a little monster, she'll never get the chance to be anything else. And from what I know of fillies like her, the reason she revels so in making others feel worthless is because she's scared she's worthless. Rarity, I know you've got that eye for detail, but seriously, you can't just figure out these things from seeing her a few times and hearing your sister's stories. You're just making stuff up at this point. No, I'm not, Rarity hissed. I've talked to her, Rainbow Dash, She cut herself off. Applejack turned to face Rarity, hitting her eyes through the protective sunglasses. Rarity shook despite herself. I cannot tell you how I know. It would be betraying the trust of someone who's very dear to me. But please trust me when I say she isn't beyond help. Applejack sighed. Rarity, if you know something, just tell us. You'd be betraying more trust if what you know could hurt someone, but you don't say nothing. Twilight, at this point as helplessly dragged into the argument as the rest of the group, groaned. Girls, can we please not have a repeat of the Fluttershy model disaster again? If you know something about a missing foal, Rarity, it'd be wrong not to say anything. I truly don't know where she is, I swear. The last I saw her was at my shop yesterday afternoon. She left looking terrified, confused, and ashamed. If I had even the faintest idea where she is, I'd tell her father immediately. Applejack took a step closer and muttered, Did you try the nut house? There ain't a villain in existence who wouldn't go to their mama when they're hurting. Rarity, by now used to Applejack inexplicably knowing Pony's secrets, just nodded solemnly. Unfortunately, Rainbow Dash had the hearing of someone used to racing through gale force winds, and managed to hear at least a little bit. The mental ward? Why'd she be there? Actually, Twilight, there isn't some magic anti-crazy spell you could cast when the pony's there to fix them, is there? She remembered a mare from Clasdale who had been chewing her wings off when Rainbow fled that day, and who'd been stuck at the hospital since. All three unicorns shook their heads, with varying degrees of exasperation. Don't you think if there was such a spell, Celestia would have had doctors all over Equestria casting it ages ago? Twilight asked, gearing up for lecture mode. The vast majority of mental magic can only add to what's already there, or move things around a bit. It can't change how the mechanics of a pony's mind actually work. A charm spell, for instance, may make you see the caster as your best friend, but the spell does nothing to affect what best friend actually means for you. And of course, that kind of magic is very easy to overcharge, like I did with Sparny Pans, to wildly unpredictable results. When I saved you all from Discord, all I did was pull memories that already existed to the forefronts of your minds. It's something you couldn't have done yourselves under the right circumstances. Most of what Discord's brainwashing did was plant the thoughts he wanted in a pony's mind and keep them pinned there until the pony effectively brainwashed themselves. Theoretically, a pony with a stubborn enough will might be able to resist him, though I can't imagine he'd take it well. Unnoticed by all, Fluttershy's eyes rolled. Anyway, this is all to say that the equine brain is an incredibly delicate organ, and it's much easier to break than it is to fix. Not to mention how many different ways of breaking there are, and how even disregarding every pony's uniqueness, they'd all need their own methods of healing. I'm afraid there's not much that can be done for them outside of medication and proper therapy. Somewhere, a cricket chirped. So, Trixie, how about those magic tricks? Pinkie Pie asked. It took very little nudging for Trixie to perform a few cantrips for the group. They weren't anything truly impressive to any mage past the age of 7, but Trixie was able to put her own spin on them. Rainbow begrudgingly admitted that Trixie's magic wasn't that bad when she wasn't running her mouth, and was rewarded with a sparkling illusion in the shape of her smirking face. When the party finally came to a close, the ponies went off to their homes. All except for Rarity, who indeed visited the mental ward hoping to find Diamond Tiara. When that failed, she used her gem-finding spell to try to find the diamond set in the filly's tiara, to no avail. When she came home that evening, Sweetie Belle asked where she'd been. I was out looking for someone's very precious jewel, dear. And I think it may mean something to me, too.